You're looking at the EPICS Playbook. The EPICS Playbook is a compilation of plans for managing, starting, teaching, and integrating the EPICS program into your classes. So, what I will do with this video is go through how to use the EPICS Playbook, and we will look at the different features and the different resources in the playbook. So, we begin with the first page, an introduction to EPICS. Here is a full video of what is EPICS in Vietnam. This video is in English with Vietnamese translation so that you and your colleagues will get a quick look at what EPICS is and the history of the program in Vietnam. Here, after running EPICS for 3 years, we have the impact of EPICS. Here is a video of students doing some excellent work with what they learned through EPICS to help fight COVID-19. Why you should read the EPICS Playbook. You should be reading the EPICS Playbook because you want to manage an EPICS program and you want to run the whole program from the early plans to student recruitment, to planning your lessons, to teaching your lessons, to hosting your events. You want to lead EPICS at your school. This playbook is for you. How we use the playbook. This is an important chart right here. This is actually the site map for the EPICS playbook. It goes through the 4 phases of EPICS: brainstorm your program, plan your program, teach your program, and then share your impact. So those are the 4 phases. Within each phase, which you also see here, brainstorm, plan, teach, and share, you will see what the EPICS leads do. So what the EPICS leads do in the brainstorm phase is they brainstorm how they're going to run the program. What the EPICS leads do in the plan phase is these different actions. Then, this chart, what EPICS leads will create. So at the end of this planning phase, what have you created? So at the end of the brainstorming phase, we have a concept note. You will see this chart again and again throughout the EPICS playbook. This is your map to running EPICS. This is your most basic playbook. All right, so when you are ready and you have a brief understanding of EPICS, we go on with our first phase, which is brainstorm EPICS. When we brainstorm EPICS, and for all phases, the site begins with your phase guide, what you will do. We saw this in the chart. And in this phase, you will understand and brainstorm your EPICS program. Then, by the end of this phase, you will fill out the brainstorming sheet and write your concept note. So this is so you understand what you're going to do and what you will complete. Every page will have something like this. And then you scroll down to go into the content. Here we go. We understand EPICS. EPICS is Engineering Projects in Community Service. It is a program where engineering students solve real problems for their communities by partnering with members of their community to co-design a solution to a real problem. EPICS has a number of learning philosophies that we go into in detail. These are the philosophies that help students learn 21st century skills. We have multidisciplinary teams where students from different majors or not even outside of STEM will join together to solve an engineering-based problem. We have human-centered design. This is where the students base their design off of levels of feedback and empathy with users. We have multidisciplinary design. This is similar to multidisciplinary teams, but this means that the prototype takes on design aspects from different sciences. We have service learning. This is where students become actively engaged in their community by learning through doing service or helping their community. We have the professional skills. There are a number of professional skills, including teamwork, communication, problem solving, that students learn by working in a team, and social entrepreneurship, because the prototypes the students create are potential to be businesses and businesses that help society. So here we see some photos of students working together. So the EPICS design process, a full explanation of the EPICS design process in all is in this website, and that video is quite long and in detail with a number of slides. If you really want to get into the pedagogy of EPICS, that is in here as well. But put simply, the students ideate a design, they make an idea, they test their idea, they get feedback, they update their idea, and they redesign, and they go through this cycle called the design innovation cycle. So, as an EPICS program lead, what kind of events are you going to be leading? Of course, you're going to be leading the class, the activities, but there are two unique types of events. There is the design review day. This is a time when the students get together with the industry to get feedback on their project. That's very important for human-centered design, for user-centered design, and to complete the design innovation cycle. And we have the innovation showcase. At the end of the EPICS program, this is a celebration where the students can show what they have created. And as the EPICS program lead, this EPICS playbook will give you guidance to run these two events. Here we have videos of student EPIC projects so you can understand what they're doing. All right, so your first task for phase 1 of the playbook is to brainstorm your EPICS program. So here you would click to open this spreadsheet and for you to answer these questions to yourself. Questions about scope, schedule, cost, resources, communication strategies, project risks, procurement, and your stakeholders. If you can answer all these questions, then you'll really have a good idea of what you want to do with your EPICS program. When you move on from your brainstorming sheet, you can use your brainstorming sheet to write your EPICS concept note. A concept note is a 1 or 2 page document that very briefly states what your plan is. This concept note is very important for you to create so you can tell other faculty about your EPICS program and about your plan. It's about making your complicated plan very concise. So once you have brainstormed your program, you can prepare your concept note. And the template to download that is here, and there is a sample here you can click on. When you have done these two things, you have completed phase 1. So you would move on to phase 2, which is plan EPICS. If you look in the EPICS playbook, you will see that there is a drop-down menu next to some of these phases. If you click the drop-down, you will get the different tasks and a page for each task. So we move on to plan EPICS. Okay, in the plan EPICS section, you're moving on. There are a lot of tasks here. So we have what you will do, which is also here, and what EPICS leads do. You will be setting your milestones. You'll be identifying community mentors. You will develop projects. You will identify sponsors. You will train your support faculty or train new EPICS faculty. This is a big step, and you will draft a budget. So by the end of the planning phase, you will have your EPICS syllabus and your budget. All right, so we've moved from phase 1 on to phase 2. To use the playbook, go to Plans and Curriculum, phase 2, click the drop down. We will go through these different sections. Let's start with setting your milestones. All right, milestones are set achievements along the path towards a goal. In order for you to run this huge program with its many, many tasks, you need to break everything down into milestones. So here we have, why do we start with milestones? Here, I've given you a milestone tracking spreadsheet. These are some of the most basic ideas of the EPICS program. And when you can click here to open this sheet and copy it for yourself, filling in this program coordination milestones spreadsheet will help you get a work plan for your program. In addition, once you have started the classes, there will be another set of milestones for program deliverables. So these milestones are for program management, or as we said, program coordination milestones. Within the teaching component, you have EPICS project milestones. Once you are more familiar with the lessons and the lesson plans, you can fill in this sheet for each of your teams. So this will help you stay on track to make sure that you are pushing the teams towards their goal. All right, so at the end of this phase, set your milestones. You are getting ready to start with your milestones. Okay, now we have step 2, identify community mentors. All right, EPICS is a unique program because it is a service learning program. A service learning program means that students learn by helping their community, and they need to have a community mentor. A community mentor is someone who is experiencing a problem or is very knowledgeable about a community problem, and that person can help the students get empathy and real user feedback on their project. So I will just go through some quick mentors. You need, as a faculty, to think about your wider network and the network in your university and in your life of people who are experiencing some problems, and then you can introduce the students to them. Here is an example of students working with a school for the deaf. So the community mentor was this teacher at the deaf school. Here we go on with how a community mentor can help an EPICS team, how the community mentor can give support. This is for you to have a discussion with future community mentors. And how do you, as the EPICS lead, help connect community mentors with students? Here we have students who have partnered with the transportation department at their university. So that is their community mentor, and the students are working together to innovate a traffic safety device. Here we have students whose community mentor is another student, where the students are helping all students create a more comfortable lap desk. Here we have students who have made a community partner with a teacher for the deaf to make an innovation for a hearing aid. An important one is that when you are working with a community mentor, you want to plan ahead of how to get the community mentor interested in joining EPICS and volunteering their time to work with your students. So please consider these aspects and then use this to write a community mentor flyer, something that kind of like your concept note and kind of like an explanation of a community mentor's impact. Creating this one-page flyer or a small website or something that you can share with future community mentors will help them understand what you're asking from them. So here is an example of a community mentor flyer in English, and here is a community mentor flyer in Vietnamese. So you can use flyer templates available on the internet to create a flyer or a website or something that summarizes what you are expecting from a community mentor and why community mentors want to join EPICS, what they get from partnering with students who can innovate new solutions for their problems. And you can download the flyer and brochure templates. All right, so we've gone through identify community mentors, and your task was to outline a community mentor flyer. All right, we move on to the next step, which would be to develop projects. So now that you have community mentors, it's time for you as the faculty and as working with students to develop a project. You can develop projects before you have students and before you have a lesson plans. This is a conversation between the faculty and the community mentor. Some EPICS programs like to develop the projects with their partners before students join, so that when students join, students can pick a project. Some EPICS programs like to have students create and develop projects themselves. So this aspect can come at different times, but whenever you decide it is the time to develop your project ideas, you should work with your EPICS community mentor, or encourage your students to work with the EPICS community mentor to understand what an EPICS project is and what an EPICS project is not. Understand some of the main motivations of an EPICS project and some best practices, and then for the partner and the EPICS participants to write a quick project concept note or a project development template, just to go through some early ideas for your projects. So when you are making connections with community mentors, you can also have quick discussion with them about what kind of projects that they want to develop. Or you can have your students do this part once they've joined the program. So you now have community mentors, and hopefully you and your mentors have created some projects. So we move on to identify sponsors. Well, community mentors are people who are giving you insights into your problem areas. A sponsor could also be a community mentor or another organization that wants to support your students through their innovation. So if the sponsor is an industry, then they may be very interested to hear that EPICS helps build students with great soft skills, and they could see EPICS as a chance for them to connect with students that are very innovative with strong communication problem-solving skills. So here I've gone through some perspectives of an industry sponsor, some examples of industry sponsorship through EPICS in Vietnam, and importantly, here is a full webinar about strategies for developing EPICS partners and sponsors. This is about 40-minute video with the director of EPICS at ASU going through what is called the Partnership Playbook, which is a resource for building partnerships within EPICS. And there is a lot of material here, and primarily this is perspective shifts in helping you establish sponsorships. Once you have a good perspective of what you want to find in a sponsor, you can look for ways that the sponsor can contribute. There are many ways that they can contribute. And then you want to summarize what you have brainstormed into a sponsorship flyer. Here is a template for a sponsorship flyer and some sample ideas for different sponsorship levels. You could even try making a sponsorship website, and here is an example of a program sponsorship website that you can use. So you have completed this step of identifying sponsors, and by this time you have outlined some sponsorship materials so that when you reach out to a potential sponsor, you are ready. So we have train support faculty or train new faculty. This is a big step. In this stage, you're going to review the training resources, and in the end, you're going to train some new EPICS faculty. You may or may not decide that you have to do this now, before your program, or after, but it is very important to always train new faculty in EPICS so that you can have new ideas and new skills into the program. So this is for training in EPICS. Here we have the EPICS Trainer Masterclass slides. This was a training of trainer program for EPICS faculty. We also have a video of the masterclass that you can watch to go through some higher level ideas for training faculty. And here is the curriculum for the EPICS program that you would use. Within the masterclass for EPICS faculty, there were some resources mentioned, and they are also linked down here. So for the faculty, it's important to go through this, and you can adapt this material for your own classes. And here we have examples of faculty teaching other faculty. All right, so now hopefully you're ready to teach other faculty to join your EPICS program. So we move on to your EPICS syllabus. All right, so much like your milestones, your syllabus for your class is like a full summary of what you're going to do in all different aspects. And every university has different templates for their syllabus. You're very comfortable with writing a syllabus. Here I've just given you examples of EPICS syllabuses from different universities that have run the EPICS program, so you can see how you may want to write your own syllabus. Here is the syllabus from an Arizona State University EPICS program. So writing your syllabus is like a project management plan. It is an important document that you put together all your ideas into one place. So work on your syllabus, taking your milestones, your concept note, your project ideas, everything, compiling it together. And one of the last planning steps is a very important step. It comes last because you need to understand the full breadth of the tasks that you're about to take on, and that is to draft a program budget. It's important that you do this as one of the last steps so that you will have had a chance to brainstorm all the costs. Here are some brainstorming cost questions to help you go through it. Students also need to budget their projects. So this is an assignment for the students, some examples of how they budget their projects, their materials for their projects. At the bottom, you can see a number of different student templates for their budgeting. But you, as the EPICS lead, are looking for the estimate of your program's budget. So here is a budget template that goes through some of the different phases for the different events and the teaching phase. And it would, before the program starts, it is best to get an estimated budget for what you're going to need for your program. Okay, so you have brainstormed EPICS, so you got a bit ready, and then you planned all of these 7 different planning tasks. And now it's time to move on to the next phase. So click here, and the next phase is teaching EPICS. And we have our first area, which is writing lesson plans, but actually writing lesson plans has many drop downs. So EPICS has 6 phases, and we will go through the lesson plans only for phase 1, and you can go on your own for phase 6. All right. At the beginning of each lesson plan page, it tells you your phase's objectives. It gives you a curriculum guide. It gives you the guide for a phase gate or a design review gate review, design review, these are the same. This is the end of phase activity when you know that the students are done. So we have the curriculum guide and the phase gate when they've completed the phase. And here is an example sample lecture from one of our schools of their phase 1 lectures for EPICS. So here you have some excellent equipment to understand what's going on in this first phase. We also have lesson plan samples. We have a full lesson plan samples, and we have a lesson planning template that you can download here that will help you make sure that you include the important parts of the phase. And for this first phase, I've just given you just to help you think of ideas, because the first phase is project identification, a long list of projects students did in the past. So this is just to help you brainstorm through the project identification phase, which is phase 1. With this information, your task is to write your lesson plan. So open the lesson planning template and fill in your lesson plan for this phase. All right, teach EPICS. We will have you write lesson plans for all of the 6 phases, and then we move on to recruit students. Recruiting students is a very important one. Without the students, the program doesn't work. But once the students are excited, once they understand EPICS, recruiting them is not too difficult. So you want to think about why a student would want to join EPICS. What will they gain from it? What will they enjoy? Most importantly, that it's fun. Here are examples of student recruitment flyers in Vietnam. You can also use student recruitment websites. And at the end of this phase, it's important that you create an exciting student recruitment material, either a website or a flyer, something to get the students interested. And actually, this website, the whole EPICS playbook, has lots of material that you can copy, paste, or share with your students to get them excited. So back in our teach phase, we have manage classes. So we have deliver and manage classes. This is also when you are doing the teaching. As teachers, as professional educators, this playbook isn't here to teach you how to teach, just to give you ideas for managing and delivering unique teamwork-based classes. So once you have your lesson plans, you're set to teach, and here are some best practices from ASU for 21st century skills class management. Here is a presentation on classroom communication. We have a presentation on critical thinking and a presentation on problem solving. So these are ideas for you as a faculty to enrich your understanding and to use some of them as you deliver your classes. We have here a list of recommended teaching tools. Many of them are online tools. Of course, PowerPoint is an excellent way for you to deliver your lecture and then let the students work in teams. Many classes are run online, and here we have 2 Vietnamese language videos about how to use Zoom, how to use Zoom, how to join Zoom is this rather basic one, and how to teach on Zoom. This is from a lecturer at Kantha University who shared with us how he runs his whole classes on Zoom. And this video is very detailed, so it's a great way if you're going to be teaching EPICS online. When you have your program, it's important that you keep precise data of your students' participation. So here I have an in detail tutorial about the rosters for your program. All right, so you deliver and manage your class. Now we run our first type of event. Our first event is the design review. A design review is basically a presentation by the students to a community or industry partner, and there they will get useful feedback on the usability of their idea or the feasibility of their idea. We call them design reviews. I also call them phase gates. So for each one of these design reviews, There is a template for running the event. Here is the objectives of a design review, what the students should bring, ideas for their design review template. Here is some photos of different design reviews. Here are the different design review guides for each phase. So you can decide to have 2 design reviews in a program. You can have 6 design reviews in a program. You can have the students design review each other, but it's very important that in the EPICS program, the students are getting feedback. So here's the materials for the design reviews. Here's some photos of some design reviews run in EPICS in the past. The students just use their laptops and they just discuss what they have worked on so far. Now we have the big one, the EPICS Showcase, the final event. In this, the students have spent many months preparing for the EPICS Showcase. They have built a useful prototype, and now they're going to demonstrate it. So to really understand, here's a video of the EPICS Showcase on the Vietnamese news. Here you'll see how an EPICS Showcase is run. It is a large table display event where the students put their prototype and a poster about their work on display, and guests come and interact with the students, give them feedback. You may even have judges giving the students awards. Here is some more insight into the innovation showcase or the design showcase. Here is a milestone coordination tracking sheet to help you prepare for your own showcase. Just click right here to open, copy, download. Here are some pictures of the students with their posters. At the Innovation Showcase, we have this event. We give the students recognition or certificates or awards. The students create their project poster to summarize what they've learned. The template for the poster from the past is here. You can update this for your own programs. Some best practices for the poster are available here. If you will be giving the students awards, then you would need a judging rubric based on the principles of EPICS and a tracking sheet so that you can follow along with the judge's score. You don't need to have a big showcase. You can have a small showcase like the ones listed here. These smaller showcases help other students at your school understand EPICS. All right. All right, so we have completed the Teach EPICS phase because this showcase is the end of your program. At this time, the students have achieved something excellent. Now we will move on to the next phase, which is to share EPICS. All right, we look at the different tasks below. We have promote women in EPICS, we have share your impact, and we have integrate EPICS. In share EPICS, sharing EPICS is now that EPICS is done, how do you promote the program so that it will continue? So here we've moved on to the 4 phases, and by the end of this phase, you will plan to integrate EPICS into your class, and you will plan to promote EPICS impact. So, all right, promoting women in EPICS. One of the very most important aspects of EPICS is that it is multidisciplinary and multi-science and diverse teams. You need to have gender diversity in order for engineers to have a broad range of ideas and influences for their prototypes. So every community has problems, and those problems affect different people very differently. It affects men and women quite differently. That's why it's very important that teams have women on the team and is leading the team and giving advice into the team so that the team is getting a holistic view of their problem and they're getting the different skills from all their teammates. So why women in EPICS are critical. That was a brief summary. How to encourage women in EPICS. This is how to encourage women in STEM. There are a number of different ways, and these are very important steps here. They include role modeling, specifically promoting to EPIC, to female students, giving specific encouragement, reaching out to departments that may be outside of your department to find innovative female students. So please read these ideas. You could also run a women's-led EPICS. We have done this in the past. It was called WEPICS, or Women in EPICS program. And here's just a video from the WEPICS competition in 2017. So if you really want to emphasize women, you can have a program where the team leader must be a woman. That's what WEPICS was. It was not only women, but the team leader. So the project teams must be led by women. Within communication, within promoting, we have the idea of female highlights. You want to highlight students that are women, highlight them within your campus community, and highlight faculty, highlight EPICS, but make sure that you promote the image of women so that women passing by will see that the program is open to them and that this is something for them. We also have articles. You can write longer form articles about women's teamwork, and here is an article on a different ASU website, for example, about a female EPICS team, and you can get this onto your school's team. So we will have more resources about this very important aspect soon. All right, so now that your program is done and you have shared your impact and promoted the impact of women, you want to share your overall impacts of EPICS. So sharing your impact is promoting your program, because EPICS is a program where students make impact, where they create prototypes that are ready to make impact. One of the first things you need to do is do grading and evaluation, evaluating the program of teams that are working together. And moving on to the next area is sharing your impact. So this is a chance to share, first to assess the impact that you had on the students and that the students had on each other, and to share your impact with your community, with your campus, with other students, with other campuses, other universities, and with the media, to try to promote EPICS, promoting not the program, but the social good that the students created through their projects. So first we have grading and evaluation. Here are some templates for peer evaluation forms and a rubric, sample rubric for grade evaluation. And this is if EPICS is a course, then you would be looking at these things. So when you are getting ready to share your impact, you need to brainstorm these ideas about the impact that you had. So it's good to look over this and to consider these different areas for impact, and you can use the media to highlight your impact. And you don't need to use the television media. You can use just your campus media, your campus photographer, campus video, campus website. But here are some examples of articles written in the public media, as you've seen before, videos of final showcases on TV. So in the simplest way, you want to find the social good, the real impact of your students' projects, and you want the world to know about it so that people will want to continue to partner with you. They may sponsor your program, you'll have new students joining, and importantly, you'll solve issues for the community. So moving on to the next area, we have integrate EPICS. So in every school, you may run EPICS differently. For some, it is a club. For some, EPICS is just a chance to learn about project-based learning and to integrate some lessons from EPICS into your existing programs. Maybe at some schools, EPICS is a standalone program. It is its own program. So here we're going to, in this place, explore different ways to integrate EPICS. So we have a video here just shared from YouTube, basics on the value of project-based learning. And here we have an in-depth lecture, slides from Build It activities about the project-based learning spine and how project-based learning impacts the whole curriculum. Here we have examples of EPICS as a club, and here's some an impact story where the students doing the design innovation process through EPICS, they made a hand sanitizer for their local hospital. So even EPICS as a club, getting its funding from the school, that can be a big impact. So EPICS as a part of an existing program, or you can think of this as taking lessons from EPICS and putting them into your existing program. So here, this is just an example of a school that has its own innovation competition, but they adopted the idea of service learning that comes with EPICS. And in this video, you can learn more about their own project-based learning program, and you can see in this video shades of the learning philosophy from EPICS. Then we have EPICS as a standalone program. So this would be EPICS as a competition at your school. The full EPICS as it is, recruiting students. It's not a course, but it is just an innovation competition. And we had this already, EPICS as a standalone program. We've actually done this a number of times, and there's some excellent examples of it here. Then we have EPICS as a course. In this, the students would complete their EPICS project, and then they would be given a grade. And to do this, you would need to put EPICS into your curriculum and build a curriculum around it. And the EPICS Playbook is a resource for you to build the curriculum to make EPICS a credit course. Another way that EPICS can become a part of a credit course is through capstone projects. Students have to do capstone projects, and they need a system for going through the design innovation process. So making EPICS the system that your capstone design projects follow is also integrating EPICS into a course, because the capstone is receiving a grade. So building your capstone projects, the philosophy of your capstone projects around the philosophy of EPICS is another great example. And then we have EPICS and accreditation, or EPICS and ABET. So this is the idea of how does EPICS impact your international accreditation. What EPICS is doing is it's giving your students a chance to do project-based learning and to grow soft skills. These are soft skills, and project-based learning are often components of many international accreditation schemes, including the ABET accreditation. So, of course, ABET doesn't ask for any specific type of project-based learning. It doesn't have to be EPICS, but EPICS is a model that you now have the resources to implement that can help you tick the box for international accreditation and give your students a quality education. And the final area of the playbook is this more resources and frequently asked questions. So the playbook that you are seeing today is just version 1. I've just completed this so that I can get it out to the EPICS faculty in Vietnam, and I can get feedback from all of you. And as I get feedback, as I get questions, this area will evolve, and all of the other sections of the playbook will evolve. So what you're seeing here are just simple questions that I've had over the last few years running EPICS. So, and this will be a constantly updating section.